Imagine hearing a knock on your window, miles away from anyone, the silence of the night broken by an unexpected sound, sending chills down your spine. Lila didn't have to imagine. She experienced it firsthand, and it was something she would never forget. Lila never believed in ghosts. She was a rational person, always finding logical explanations for the unexplainable. When her grandmother left her an isolated cabin deep in the woods, she saw it as a haven of peace. A place to escape the hustle and bustle of city life, to find solace in nature. Old, cozy, with a fireplace casting a warm glow, it was everything she had hoped for, a perfect retreat on her first night. Whispers of the trees lulled her to sleep. The gentle rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl created a symphony of nature. Then came a soft knock on the bedroom window. She froze. Her heart pounded in her chest as she strained to listen. Miles from the nearest neighbor, in the dead of night, the isolation that once felt comforting now seemed menacing. She told herself it was just a branch. The knocking stopped. Morning came. The sunlight brought a sense of relief. No branches near the window. She inspected the area, finding nothing that could have caused the sound. Shrugging it off, she enjoyed her solitude. Night fell again. The cabin, once a sanctuary, now felt like a trap. The fire crackled and the knock returned. Louder, more deliberate. It was as if someone or something was trying to get her attention. Heart racing, she flung open the window. The cold night air rushed in, sending a shiver down her spine. Nothing but the cold, empty forest. She locked the window. The sense of unease grew stronger. Then the knocking came again. This time it was more insistent, almost demanding. From the living room window, the sound echoed through the cabin, making her skin crawl. Terrified, flashlight in hand, she crept into the darkened room. Each step felt like an eternity. The beam landed on the window. Her breath caught in her throat as she saw something that defied explanation. A pale, thin hand pressed against the glass. It was ghostly, almost translucent. She gasped, stumbled back. The hand vanished. It was as if it had never been there. She stayed awake all night, knife in hand, eyes on the windows. Every creak and groan of the cabin made her jump. No more knocking, but the feeling of being watched lingered. It was an oppressive presence, always there, just out of sight. Morning revealed bare human footprints in the snow, leading to each window, as if someone had been circling the cabin, watching her, then disappearing into the woods. The tracks ended abruptly, leaving no clue as to who or what had made them. Lila left the cabin that day, never to return. The place that once promised peace had become a nightmare, but sometimes late at night in her city apartment, far from the woods. She swears she still hears faint knocking on her apartment window on the third floor. The sound is faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable. It haunts her, a reminder of the terror she faced in that isolated cabin. She often wonders if whatever was out there in the woods followed her. The city, with its bright lights and constant noise, should feel safe. But the knocking persists. Desperate for answers, Lila began researching the paranormal. She read books, articles, and even consulted with experts in the field. One expert suggested that the cabin might have been built on land with a dark history. Perhaps it was a place where something terrible had happened, leaving restless spirits behind. Old newspaper clippings revealed stories of mysterious disappearances in the area, people who ventured into the woods and were never seen again. Lila found old photographs of the cabin and the surrounding woods. There was something unsettling about the images, as if they held secrets long forgotten. Determined to put the past behind her, Lila decided to confront her fears. She returned to the cabin one last time, hoping to find closure. In the daylight, the cabin looked almost inviting, but as she approached, the memories of that night came flooding back. Inside, everything was as she had left it. The air was thick with the scent of pine and the faint smell of smoke from the fireplace. She stood by the window, looking out into the woods. The silence was deafening, but there was no knocking. Lila locked the door behind her and left the cabin for the final time. She felt a sense of relief, as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Back in her city apartment, she felt a newfound sense of peace. The knocking had stopped, and she could finally sleep without fear. Lila knew she would never forget the terror she experienced, but she also knew she had faced her fears and come out stronger. The city lights twinkled outside her window, a reminder that she was safe, and the past was behind her.